Hi everyone, this is Junaid's Guide, back at you with another one. It's been a minute since I was on my last video, and so I had to go and dig up my content to bring it live again. So I'm coming live and direct with the next video. And I covered in my last video a lot about how to study why you study. Well, not why you study, but how to study and things that can help you to study. And it doesn't matter what the subject is, if you follow that method, you can study anything. So, since growing up, there's never been nothing been said about how you study. It's also always expected. And so, coming from a humble upbringing, parents not well off, pushes their kids to a better life. I never had what you have. What's around me now wasn't around my parents then. So now the emphasis is pushed on you to go and do better, to become a doctor, become an engineer. So what I say is the emphasis has been pushed because of society towards education. But there's never been a technology in somewhat to study. There's manual book about car, there's manual book about having babies, there's manual book in the system about anything, but there's nothing in a system that needs to have been proven how to study. So that's why most people fail, because they don't have nothing to go on. Okay, so in this video, back at you with another one. Why study? I mean, does anyone study after himself why they should study before they study? Isn't that crazy? Do you sit there and say, why should I study? Okay, that's an argument, and that's up for discussion. But what I said, the emphasis has been pushed to education because of society and society pressuring the reason why we go to study. And I'll dare say that if I had a system and a manual that taught me how to study, I would have been much more successful earlier. And I'm sure a lot of other people, thousands of people, would have been much more successful first time, if not second or third, in their studying. So, emphasis pushed towards education, towards society. Society pushed back as to why we go into education and why should we better ourselves, become a doctor, become a lawyer, become an engineer. There's never been an actual technology, and it sounds far-fetched, but it's true. There was technology, but it didn't have too much to do with education. That's what I'm saying. So there was a technology, but it had nothing to do with, or too much to do with education. It consists of the technology of how to go to school, how to get taught, and how you get examined. Yeah? But there was no actual technology of education or study. That has been proven. You can go and look it up. So there was nothing about education or study. And so, lacking such technology, people find it difficult to achieve their goals. Knowing how to study is vitally important to anyone. Yeah? The first gate to be open, or the first gate that we should open, that one must embark upon, or is study, is the willingness to know. If you don't have the willingness to know, how can you then go and know? So first you got to have that willingness to know. Yeah? And if that gate remain closed, if that gate of willingness to know remain closed, then one will be liable to get into such things as total memorization. Yeah? You're going to get into total memorization. Okay? Word for word system. Yeah? And this is what the school system is about now. Word for word. Parroting. So you're going to get into a memorized system where it's word for word system of education. Right? And that's the whole system of education. That's what it's going to be built on. Which will not result in the gain of knowledge. It will not result in the gain of any knowledge. Such a system only produces graduates who can possibly parrot back facts. Yeah, you're memorizing to parrot back facts, but without any real understanding of those facts or ability to do anything with what they have been taught. So yes, you're going to memorize all this stuff, but you're just going to parrot back the facts, but you can't apply the facts. So for what purpose then does one study? Yeah, why do you study? Yeah, until you clarify that you cannot make an intelligent activity of it. There's no way you can. You can't sit down and work out and make an intelligent summarization of that, what I'm saying. Some students study for exam. The student is thinking of him or himself, how will he or able to repeat this back. So this memorization, he's thinking to himself, how can he repeat this back? Yeah. When I'm asked a certain question, so when the exam asks you a certain question, you're not thinking about how you can apply it. You're thinking how I can repeat this back. So your whole studying is all about memorizing how I can repeat what I'm memorizing. How can I repeat back exactly verbatim what I'm memorizing? Okay? That is complete nonsense, or foolishness. That's what I surmise it to be. If you're thinking that way, it is foolishness. But unfortunately, this is what many students have done at university. That's all they've done. They've just memorized. Okay? Just memorize. Take the man who has been building houses for a long time. One day gets an assistant who has just been trained at the university to build houses. He goes, and the academic trained man has been studying for years, yet knows nothing about it, about building houses. And the practical man doesn't know why this is. So the practical man cannot work out why this man who's been studying for years at university doesn't know how to build houses. He can't fathom this. The reason why is that the man who just went through university studies, all of his material, yeah, the one who went through all his university material, all he went through the material is so that he could be examined on them. He never studied the material to be able to build houses. So even most engineers and architects, they don't really study to apply. They study to be examined on. Can you see my point? And can you see where this is going? So to be examined, they want to be examined. So they study to be examined. He didn't study then to build houses, did he? The man who has been out there on a practical basis working, say he's been on a practical line working, is not necessarily superior in the long run. You know, the one who's practically able to build houses is not necessarily superior in the long run, but in the short term he is. But he certainly is able to get houses built, isn't he? And the one who went to university is not able to build houses. He's only studied to be able to apply his memorization for examination purpose. But this one who's been on the line for a long time as a practical house builder, he gets house built. Because all of his study is on basis of how do I apply this to house building, right? So all is practical, how he can apply his learning, his knowledge to the practical aspects of house building. Whereas the one who went to university as a graduate His aspects of it is all about memorization to how I can be examined on it. Every time he picks up an ad or a literature or anything else, he's asked the question throughout the entirety of his reading: how can I apply this to what I am doing? So this is the man who's building houses. Whenever he gets an ad or he picks up any literature, he doesn't take his knowledge as a way of memorizing how I can regurgitate what I memorize. Is about how I can apply to what I'm asked. Yeah? Apply this to what I'm doing. That is the basic difference between practical study and academic study. This is why some people fail in practice after they graduate. This is why most fail in practice after they graduate. Instead of looking at the data, analyzing the data, and thinking, is this going to be on the exam? This is what they're thinking. I'm memorizing this, and I'm only memorizing what is going to be on the exam. So I'm asking myself the question, is this going to be an exam? One would do much better to ask oneself, how can I apply this material to the exam? Or how can I really use this material that I'm studying in a practical sense in the exam? By doing this, a person will get much more out of what he studies or what he has studied, and will be able to put what he studied into actual use. So ask yourself, whenever you're doing something, how can I apply this? What is the reason I am studying this? What is the reason I'm getting knowledge on this? If I am studying for memorization, all I am doing is parroting back whatever I memorize. However, if I can apply this, and prior, while I'm studying, I'm thinking how I can apply this, I'm going to get better out of my studies, because I'm going to be able to apply this in a practical sense. So the student who knows all about this, and there's so much student out there who knows all about this. Now, if you went to university and you studied and you left university and you did not do nothing along the lines you studied, you did not learn anything. That's a fact. Because why would you study for 11 years only to leave, not to apply nothing you studied? Or why would you study and not being able to apply what you studied? And if that is the case, you did not study anything and did not learn anything. And so if you leave university with a degree and then you go outside to go and work and you're doing something completely different from what you studied, then all that time that you studied, you did not learn anything, because now you're learning a new product. I'm learning new knowledge to apply this, not what I learned for 11 years. So do you see why it's important to ask yourself the question, why study? And what is the reason for study? I hope this is clear. I hope this helps a lot of people out there who have a problem with studying and question themselves as to why they were not successful in their studying or why they should study. First thing to ask yourself, how can I apply this? Can I take what I learned and can I apply it in a practical sense? Right, this is Junaid Guide. Back at you with another one. Like, subscribe and share. Like, subscribe and share to my channel. And for my next video, keep in tuned and I'll see you soon. Right, I'm out.